Resilience. What is it, you may ask? Well, in simple terms, when life knocks you down, the more resilient you are, the quicker and the stronger you get back up again. Bad things happen to all of us, and resilient people tend to deal with them quicker and move on with their lives faster than people who are less resilient. Less resilient people tend to have more stress and more anxiety in their lives with other associated issues. So it's a really valuable thing to develop. And if that sounds like you or sounds like something you could do with, then we've come up with quite a simple, straightforward system for helping you develop that and improve your resilience. There are 4 stages to this. So let's look at number 1. Number 1, awareness. When bad things happen, you need to work out what's going on. Now, it may be obvious or it might be less obvious. It might be external or it might be up here, it might be internal. But whatever it is, you need to gather as much information as possible. You need to get the evidence, research, dig down a little deeper. Don't take the first, most obvious conclusion of what's happening. If you want some help with that, we've done a previous video on problem solving that's really useful. Check that out. But whatever it is, if something bad happens to you, then you need to make sense of it. You need to work out what's going on. Number 2, thinking. Now, to help us understand how our thoughts affect us, there is a model called the ABC model, and it works like this. A stands for activating event, and that simply means something happens. B stands for beliefs, that is how we think about that thing that happened. And C is consequences, which is what we do, how we react to our beliefs on the thing that happens. So to give you an example, imagine I'm walking down the street and I look down and I see a snake. Now, that's the activating event. I see a snake. Now, if my beliefs are that a snake is a really rare and interesting and exciting thing to see, then the consequence could be I go closer to it to get a better look. But if my belief is that a snake is an evil, dangerous thing, then I may go in the opposite direction and get as far away from it as possible. The same thing can happen to 2 different people with 2 different sets of beliefs, and they will react in very different ways. Now, we can control our beliefs to some extent. We mold them. And it's important for you to realize how your beliefs can push you to react in a certain way. For example, we know that certain thoughts can lead us towards certain emotions. So if you feel that you've lost something, for instance, that's much more likely to make you feel sad. But if you feel someone's done something to you, then that's much more likely to make you feel angry. These thoughts, these beliefs are pushing us towards certain emotions. And we have to be careful about that, because if our emotions get too strong, they can start to take over our decision making, and we start to make choices and do things that aren't necessarily the right thing. They're just the thing that we want to do, we feel like doing at that moment, and it might be counterproductive. So it's important we understand that. And there are other traps we need to avoid. Your brain's very good at filling in the gaps and playing little games with you, so you've got to be careful about that. There are things like filtering, for instance. Filtering is where good things happen and bad things happen, but we filter out all the good things. We only focus on the bad things. And by focusing on the bad things, we think our life is just bad by ignoring those good things. Another thing we can do is called catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is simply where we take something that goes wrong in a small way and we make it bigger. You may have heard the expression, making a mountain out of a molehill. Catastrophizing is where we take every little thing that goes wrong and we make out it's a huge disaster, it's a huge catastrophe. These are only a handful, but there are lots of different things that our brains do to try and trip us up. So it's important we make sense of it okay, and we controlled that, and these are skills you can develop. Number 3, reaching out. Now this is all about asking for help. We all need help from time to time. There is no shame in asking for help. And depending on what you're going through and what your particular issue or situation is, probably your first port of call is friends and family. If you have that available to you, then I would encourage you to use it. I know it's difficult at the moment with lockdown and self-isolation, but that seems to be relaxing a little bit now. So as long as you follow the guidelines, you can go for a walk in the park with people. You can meet them in their garden. Talk to someone, that's the important thing. Even if you don't want to meet them, you can do it over the phone. You can do it face-to-face on an online session, a Zoom thing if you like. But the important thing is you ask for help. And there's nothing wrong if you've got a supportive, positive relationship with somebody and you saying to them, look, I'm struggling with a few things at the moment. Could I just have a chat? Could I just get it off my chest and see what you think? That's fine. Any friend would be happy to do that. Okay. Now, if your situation is, or your problem is bigger than that, or you're struggling with something and you don't think your friends and family, or you haven't got that support network available to you, then you need to get professional help. And again, I would encourage you, if you feel that's something you need to do, to grab it. I know there's a lot going on in the country at the moment, in the world, but they want you to do that. Don't suffer in silence. So the best port of call for that is your GP. Contact your GP and say to them, I am struggling with my emotions or problems or anything. You know, talk to them and say, I could really do with some support. They themselves might not be the ones that deal with you. They may refer you on to a more specialised agency, but it's a first step. Okay. Now then, other agencies are available depending on what you're going through, so look at those. But the important thing here is don't just sit there struggling on your own. If it's starting to overwhelm you, ask for help. Number 4, getting stronger. Now, resilience is essentially skills, things you need to be able to do, knowledge, things you need to know, and attitude, which is a way of thinking. And the good news is you can develop all of those things. Anyone can. So I would encourage you to do so. So look at how you solve your problems. Develop your problem-solving skills. Look at how you manage your thoughts. The voices in your head, are they helping you or are they hindering you? You can get a grip of those things with a bit of practice. Develop your support network, your friends and family. Build those relationships, stay in touch with them so that they're there for you when you need them. And improve your health and fitness. There's a heap of evidence that shows people who have better diets and do a bit of exercise are a lot stronger both physically and mentally. So really get involved in that. And to help you with those things, we've done a series of videos which you can check out, like this one, that cover things like managing your thoughts, problem solving. Stoicism was the last video we did, which is really good if you struggle with how you react to things mentally, your thought processes. We've done things on happiness, part 1 and part 2, how to feel happier. We've done the video on staying active in self-isolation. So there's no excuse. There's lots of resources we've put out there for you, so use them. Probably the best way to think about resilience is that, imagine you're a boxer. Boxers train in between fights so that by the time they have to get in the ring, they can take a few punches, okay? And that's what resilience is all about. Practice and develop your strength, get stronger when you feel okay, so that when something happens, you can deal with it, you can take those blows. So there you have it, 4 steps on getting more resilient. Number 1, awareness, what's going on. Number 2, thinking, making sense of what's happening to you and your thought processes around that. Number 3, reaching out, asking for help. And number 4, getting stronger. What can you do now so that the next time something happens, you can deal with it in a much better way? I hope they've been of use to you. As I said, I've raced through those things at a pace There's a lot more to it. If you want to look into it, I would encourage you to research it further. But I hope it's been of use. Until next time I see you, take care, stay safe, and goodbye.